Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Corby Raridan, and today we have some... Okay, it looks like I won't be kicked off again like last week. That means I can do the news again. Yes! Let's get right into it, folks. To start, we'll talk about news from last week that I didn't get to cover, and it's about the new season of Jujutsu Kaisen. Along with that cool fight clip between Yuta and Yuji, we recently got a solid release date for the new season. Confirmed via X, the show is set to return on January 6th of next year. Personally, I'm really excited for it because, well, I've recently become a fan of the show. From the fights to the animation and so much more, this show has won me over, so this next season is going to be peak. Next up, we'll stick to the anime side and talk about another piece of news. For One Piece, with a twist. Instead of the anime, we'll talk about the live-action show for it. The official account recently confirmed that Zolo Maridueña is playing Fire Fist himself, Portgas D. Ace. Among other cast announcements for the show, this one was something fans have been anticipating for a while, due to the exciting arc of Alabasta being adapted for the live-action show. If you're excited for the new season, please let us know your level of excitement in the comments below. And finally for the news, we get a fun little update on the hit movie Predator Badlands. It seems the movie has been doing very well at the box office, beating our initial thoughts that the movie would do poorly. The movie has taken the #1 spot in the recent weekend box office, beating out movies like Black Phone 2. For now, we don't have a solid number of how the movie is doing, but we can be safe in saying that the movie is exceeding people's expectations. And that brings the news to an end. If you enjoyed it, let us know down below what news story was your favorite. And while you do that, we'll get right into the packs, starting with Josh yet again. Take it away.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Oswald, and welcome to Mole Movies, where every week I watch a movie that's somewhat underappreciated, underground, or straight up forgotten about, and then I give you my thoughts on them and what I like so much about them. Don't worry, I won't be pulling any 1923 Serbian silent films told from the perspective of a sad shoelace, but we might get there eventually. So with all that out of the way, let's get talking about today's film, Memento, directed by Christopher Nolan and released in the US on March 16th, 2001. Set in modern-day California, Leonard Shelby is investigating and hunting down the man who murdered his wife. However, the same night his wife was murdered, he was assaulted and the brain damage gave him enterograde amnesia, which prohibits him from making new memories. Essentially, he has short-term memory loss. Everything that happened after that incident does not get retained, and this diagnosis severely handicaps Leonard in almost every aspect of his life. He doesn't remember the people he sees every day, he doesn't remember which car is his, he doesn't even remember what led him to the conclusions that build his investigation for the killer. We see him leave notes all over his body in the form of tattoos to ensure he doesn't forget them, and the note cannot be erased. But you see later in the film, these facts that are supposed to help guide him through life end up being his biggest trap. One thing this film does exceptionally well is the way it envelops the viewer in the cloudiness and confusion of having amnesia. Not only does it implement a non-linear storytelling model, but the movie is actually told in reverse chronological order. One storyline follows Leonard and his POV through the story, and there's black and white footage to help provide backstory and more context as the film goes on. This mixture of candid confusion in the moment, followed by faint reminiscent context, really makes the viewer feel like they have to put the puzzle together, just like Leonard. Not only is this excellent storytelling, but also amazing filmmaking. This was one of the most shaking discoveries for me as a fan of movies. Christopher Nolan is widely known for making mind-bending science fiction works that blend the perfect mixture of reality and unbelievable visuals. So when you look at this film, you see a lot of the blueprints and stepping stones that led to him being the filmmaker that he is today. And you can see that it's not from his overly engineered and expensive production shoots, it's because his concepts are riveting and the themes of the film bleed out in every aspect of the process. From the editing to the cinematography, everything they crafted for this film is perfectly crafted to fit into the puzzle and reinforce the themes and messages in the most effective manner possible. This is one of the most airtight scripts and concepts for a film I've ever watched, and not only is it a thought-provoking film, it's surprisingly emotional as well. It digs into a lot of the small details you wouldn't normally think about in regards to amnesia, and I think that's exactly how a film like this succeeds. You don't need a huge blockbuster budget and insane practical sets to engage with the audience effectively. You just need something that has the perfect mix of engaging storytelling and real emotions. However, I'm gonna have to leave it there. This film is mind-bending and heartbreaking, so watch this where you can and form your own opinion. I would give Memento a 10 out of 10, and I highly recommend this to anyone who enjoyed films like Inception, Gone Girl, and Shutter Island. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
Thanks for that, Josh. You always kill it with these packs. I heard Isaac is talking about a real haunting figure, so let's see what it's about.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Rogues Gallery. Today, we're talking about one of the most feared and coldest villains throughout all of fiction, and real life too. But he's from a movie about a cat who wears boots. Let's get through this one together and get right into it. This week, our villain is the main antagonist of the 2022 sequel, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The character we're talking about is Death. There are several other antagonists that are sprinkled throughout this movie, but I don't think nearly any of them are as impactful as Death himself.
You are Death. Don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or in any other fancy way. I'm Death. Straight up.
He's the real deal, and he's not somebody to be messed with. And in this movie, he's in hot pursuit of Puss in Boots, and he will stop at nothing to take his final life. That whistle is his sinister calling card, and it's what most people know him by. Just the echoes of his whistle can send panic attacks to our main characters and send them fleeing, and it sends fear to the fearless. We can't have a good villain without a good justifiable motivation, and Death's is right in his name. He's a bounty hunter who collects those who are on their last life. Puss in Boots as a cat has 9 lives, and he's recklessly wasted 8 of them, and Death has come to challenge him since he can't seem to take life seriously. I really love his motivation, making somebody who takes everything for granted finally realize what they have, but it's too late. One of my favorite parts about this villain is he actually feels like a threat to our protagonist. It doesn't feel like plot armor is going to save the day. It feels like our protagonist could lose. Puss in Boots constantly goes by the motto,
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death.
but when he finally meets him, he isn't laughing anymore. Instead, it's Death who's laughing in the face of Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots has never been touched by a blade. Never been touched.
Death is the first person to make Puss in Boots bleed and successfully land an attack with a blade. It shows how good he is at what he does, and again, it makes it feel like this character is actually intimidating. It feels like there's a villain who actually knows how to be evil, and it makes you feel as he can't lose, as the villain of the movie. I love this villain because of the subtle messaging behind it of death does come for everybody, so don't take what you have for granted, or else it'll come sooner than you think. Thanks for watching another episode of the Rogues Gallery. Like usual, stop by next week to see another fictional villain analysis. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next Friday.
Thanks for that, Isaac. That was a great pack about Death himself. Hopefully he doesn't come for me next. Let's move into the last pack for today's episode with me. I'm covering the hit movie Late Night with the Devil. So let's tune into this pack. Oh, hello there, and welcome back to Now Screaming. Now with a live studio audience. Thank you for tuning back into my show. Well, it's either that or you were too far or too lazy to get the remote. But that's all fine with me. For today's episode, well, it's a special one, as we're talking about an old Tonight Show from way back when, Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil is a 2023 supernatural found footage indie film that was written, directed, and edited by 2 Australian brothers, Colin and Cameron Cairns. This movie is framed as a mini-documentary investigating an unexplained broadcast that occurred on Halloween night in 1977. We learn the backstory of a man named Jack Delroy and see his rise to fame with his Tonight Show, Night Owls with Jack Delroy. Due to ratings dropping and the potential risk of having his show canceled, there is a lot riding on this Halloween special. We meet special guests like the self-proclaimed medium Christo, skeptic magician Carmichael Haig, a parapsychologist author Dr. June Ross Mitchell, and a 13-year-old girl Lily, who is supposedly possessed by a demonic spirit. We watch both the on-air broadcast followed by some behind-the-scenes footage in between breaks as this seemingly innocent show turns into something far more sinister.
Now how about we get into the PGS scale?
Plot. This movie is presented in a very unique way. It really shows its indie side, purposefully making it a period piece of what a Tonight Show from the 70s would look like, and playing around with the aspect ratios as we move from on-air to off-air. Aside from the prologue and crazy epilogue, everything happens as if it's one constant take. I think the acting performances and experimental nature of this film make for a great watch to horror fans. 4 out of 5. Gore. The kills are low, but they are mighty impactful. It doesn't seem like it, but this movie has awesome practical and CGI effects. They sneak up on you and massively change your mood, from surprised to stunned to absolutely gobsmacked. It may not be a slasher, but it still brings the gore. 4 out of 5. Scares. The scares are minimal, but the tone of this film is incredible. It's light with the jump scares, but heavy with the suspenseful scenes where you are waiting for the shoe to finally drop. The finale of this movie turns it up a notch with a pretty artsy sequence that results in a crazy reveal. 3 out of 5. That gives Late Night with the Devil a PGS rating of 3.7 out of 5.
And that is all for this episode of I hope you had a good night, everyone, and I'll see you next time. And that is a wrap on today's episodes. Such a solid lineup of packs, and it just, well, it sucks that next episode is going to be the final one for this season of Nerd Central. But until then, let's stay up and happy. If you enjoyed today's episode, then leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to never miss an upload from us. I've been your host, Corby Raridan, and this has been Nerd Central. Stay nerdy.